Greetings YouTube, Sega Zombie here and welcome to another episode of the Sega Wall. Now if you missed the first episode of the new look Sega Wall, please guys go and check it out. It focuses all on the blue spines and blue case games in the Sega Wall. But this new episode is going to focus on Japanese Megadrive games. Oh, and aren't they gorgeous? Look at that guys. So, without further ado, let's find out why I collect Japanese Megadrive games. And there was a closer look at the Japanese Megadrive games in the Sega Wall. And wow, I absolutely adore Japanese games. I love all the artwork, but we're going to go into more detail now, guys. I've selected a few out of the wall that we're going to run through and, and discover how I got into all these Japanese games back in the day. So let's begin. Now, first up is DJ Boy. Now this game is very special to me. It holds loads of nostalgia, as there used to be a local independent game shop in my town that used to deal in Japanese Megadrive games. Now these games were cheaper than the PAL equivalent, and DJ Boy was the first game I bought. Now I can't remember the exact price, but there was a significant difference in buying it Japanese and then buying it PAL. So I purchased DJ Boy with all my hard-earned paper round money and the like, and pocket money, and I got myself DJ Boy. And what a game. It's a basic side-scroll beat-em-up where you're on roller boots. And yeah, it's just a wacky little game. And I know Gruss Newton absolutely loved this game, don't you, Gruss? So yeah, there's DJ Boy. Endless fun. I had that with my brothers growing up, and it's a great little game and had to be in the Sega Wall. Next up we've got Elemental Master. Look at the box art on that. Again, I keep saying it, I love the box art on Japanese games. Elemental Master, done by Technosoft, the same developers that done the Thunder Force games. And wow, this is a great run gun shoot 'em up-esque game. It is a shooter really, and you're running up the screen and it's all set in like a medieval Dungeons and Dragons-esque mystical magical fantasy world. And yeah, it's a great game. It's absolutely hard as nails, but great graphics, great visuals, really nice soundtrack to it. A great game, really recommend it. This is one that I managed to track down last year after quite a long time of waiting for this one to pop up, and that's Super HQ, a kind of sequel to the Chase HQ series. In great condition that, and I picked it up, as I said, last year, And wow, what a game. A great little game for the Mega Drive. And it takes the whole Chase HQ idea, and adds to it. You know, it gives you different vehicles to play with. You've got a sports car, a 4x4, and a big huge truck. Really, really great game. Again, not bad graphically. And yeah, I'm so glad to put this in the wall, and it's a new game, a game that I never played back in the day. And next up we come to a game that really has, again, a lot of nostalgia, like DJ Boy, and that is Raid and Trad. Now Raid and Trad, I played when I was at high school. I used to go at lunchtime to the local chippy, and we used to play Raid and Trad, me and my mates, at the arcade cab there. And of the hours we used to spend on that, we used to go after school, bunk school, and you know, a great game. And again, it's the nostalgia, an awesome vertical shooter, which, you know, holds a lot to me. Now the Mega Drive version, I'd never played until a few years ago when I purchased this. I grew up with, obviously, the arcade version, and then it was released on the Atari Jaguar. And I was one of those unfortunate souls that bought an Atari Jaguar back in the day. I loved the system personally. It's a shame it died when it did, but their version of Raiden is really, really good. So it's Raid and Trad, and I had to get it on the Mega Drive, and it was not released in PAL. Japanese only, so great to put that in the collection. Now the next one I wanted to show you is an unusual one. Now this is a shooter which we did touch upon in one of on a retro tips in the house. I did pick this out and showed that in his video, but I couldn't remember the name. But it's a really, really great shooter. It's very different, it's a lot more strategic, it's very slower pace, it's a horizontal shooter, and it has a very different control mechanic. You control your ship obviously, but you can also change the directions of your guns and what guns you're going to fire, and as you progress you get power-ups and you make your ship bigger. It moves slower but it becomes more powerful. So there's a strategicness there to the gameplay to know when and not to increase the strength and the size of your ship. I really enjoyed this game. I was disappointed to begin with because it wasn't a fast-paced shooter, but if you give this a chance, it's actually a really deep and a really original idea to the shooter genre, and it's a really, really good game. The name is Bioship Paladin. That's its English name. I'd imagine that's how that translates on there, but again, this is a great game. I'm lucky to have this in my collection. It doesn't come up that often and it's quite a pricey one, but a great game. If you can track it down and get it for a good price, I highly recommend it. And again, Japanese exclusive. Next up, just to show you some of the box art and why I like the Japanese games. You've got Turbo Outrun, which is very similar to the English release, but I just love how the design wraps all the way around. The continuous design all the way around the box. It's great, and this is one of the reasons why I really adore the Japanese games. And next up we have Shadow Dancer. Now look at that. Unfortunately, I haven't got Shadow Dancer PAL at the moment, but that is very different to their PAL and American releases, and I think that box art is awesome. Next up we have Double Dragon 2 The Revenge. Now this is very faithful to the arcade original, and again, really lovely box art to that game. And yeah, again, it's a game I picked up recently. I'd never played it on the Mega Drive. It wasn't until not that long ago that I didn't actually know that this was on the Mega Drive. So it was really, really great to add that to the wall. And yeah, check it out. It's a great little side-scrolling beat-up. We all know Double Dragon. We all love Double Dragon, and it's nice to have the second one in the wall. Next up we have Outrunners, which is a kind of spiritual sequel to Outrun. It was released in the arcades. It got a North American release and a Japanese release. but again, it never made it to the UK or Europe. And yeah, I think this is a great little game. It was an advanced game in the arcades for the time, with the 2-player co-op and split screens. And it sort of like took the Outrun idea of travelling across America, and it's a really, really solid little racer. It pushes the Mega Drive to its limits. The Mega Drive didn't quite have the power for this conversion really, but it's solid enough and plays really well. And again, it's got that continuous box art. The design goes all the way around, which I really, really enjoy, and that's a really great game to add to the Sega Wall. And then finally, just show you another shooter, which is a game not released in the UK or Europe, and that is Vapor Trail. And a great little shoot 'em up, this one. Again, it's a vertical shooter, and yeah, it's a solid little game. I really highly recommend it. It's not one that people talk about that often on the Mega Drive, but it's one to hunt down. And this is where Japanese game collecting is really, really good, because there's so many games, there's so many shooters. Shooters is one of my favourite genres, and the Mega Drive, the Japanese Mega Drive, has so many titles. So this is why I collect Japanese games for the Mega Drive, and it dates back in the day. It used to save me some money. Now, I did take the risk and gambles over when I was a wee lad, and looked at some of the stunning box art to these games, and I'd purchase the game. Not every single time did I find a gem, but sometimes I'd find a game where it was a story-driven game with loads of Japanese text, and I'd be really frustrated because I couldn't get on with the game, and I'd have to wait until the following weekend and go and trade it in and get something else. And perhaps that's what's led me down the path of my favourite games being shooters, races, beat-em-ups, one-on-ones, them sort of pick up and play arcade style games. Perhaps that's the path I took, and that's the gamer I've become today. And I owe a lot to Japanese games, because again, I wouldn't have half the titles I had back when I was a kid and experienced all these different games. So that's why I have a massive passion for Japanese games, and I adore collecting them in the Sega Wall. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. There'll be plenty more Sega Walls coming up in the future. I'm Sega Zombie. Until the next time, goodbye.